This is Dr. Tracy Lynn. She built a $100 million company that she started with just $200 at a small church in Detroit, Michigan, one of the roughest cities in the world. Here's how she did it. What was your life like as a kid in Detroit?
With my mother, it was rough. Single mom. She did, the best she could, and we had to eat that government cheese. And we made some good grilled cheese sandwiches. The cheese didn't melt, but we ate it anyway. And that crazy peanut butter in the can, that was what it was. She always painted the bigger picture for me. She always took me to the clients. So she was a nurse for a lot of wealthy people. She always made sure that I came over to see the house. And on her off days, she would drive me around the neighborhoods to see. So she planted the vision in my head that I could live like that. You can make it. You can achieve. So I grew up, maybe to others it sounds like a rough story, but when somebody is constantly telling you that you're gonna make it and that you're smart and that you got it, you believe it. I believed.
When you first started selling jewelry, I heard that you were selling it out of Tupperware containers. Is that true?
That is true. I did start selling out of the Tupperware container in the church, passed it around in the choir stand. And then it came back full of money. And I got more and I reinvested, and that investment was my $200.
So you started your jewelry company selling the jewelry yourself?
Absolutely.
And how long did it take until you were able to do that full time? Did you have a job before that?
I did. I worked for the Vanguard Group. I sold stocks and bonds. So I have a Series 6, 63 license, so I could sell stocks and bonds. And then I sold real estate investment trust. So I got my love of real estate. I started when it was easy because I had the other job. Sometimes people quit everything and then they're out there and then they're hungry. So yeah, I started it while I was working. That was the best way for me to start it.
But you had a great career selling stocks, having a Series 6, making all this money. What made you want to go and sell jewelry out of plastic containers?
Well, because I believed that I could do more. When I got hired at Vanguard, I got hired for $22,000. I always knew that there was millions in me. Even as a kid in Detroit, when the dentist told me at 12 that I would never be able to afford braces, I told him, oh yes, I would. I just had a knowing. Didn't matter where I started, it was about where I was going. And I knew $23,600 was not my future.
Nah, definitely. You always had a bigger vision for yourself.
Always.
So tell me how you went from selling jewelry yourself to getting other women interested in selling your jewelry, and maybe break down that business model. I was talking with Teo, my videographer, and he actually never heard of direct sales before. So maybe explain that. I know that's what I said. Explain it for a viewer who's never heard it, how that model works and how you got people on board with your vision.
J. Paul Getty said, I prefer to have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own efforts. There's only so much time in a day and only so much I can do. And I had a love for people. I believed that I could get it and I could do it. And how I could do it was by partnering with other people to get there. And that was the model. So direct selling model says that you get a percentage of the income of what somebody else does because now you're working together. I have what they want, which was the jewelry, and they have what I need, which is a whole nother marketing group that I didn't have to worry about doing all the marketing for. So I didn't have to we didn't have funnels back then, so we didn't have all that.
You had to get out there and talk to people.
You had to get out there and talk to people, which still serves well today, that you can connect. So just like Teo said, he never heard of that. Where you been, Teo? But he's heard of Uber, right? So that's called the gig economy. So Uber ain't the first gig. People selling the food, what y'all young folks be getting. See the young folks. DoorDash and everything for all that money. Anyway, we ain't gonna get into DoorDash, but those are gigs. And so the original gig economy is direct sales.
So you were their mentor and also helping them get their business off the ground while giving them the products, and you were leading the ship, basically.
I was leading the ship and I was the coach.
Yeah.
I was the coach for them, I was the mentor, and then I was the one that celebrated their success because they had success. It was easy to sell. The jewelry was selling itself.
You remember the first piece that you created and sold?
Yep. Well, the first piece, the funny thing is, when I was in my room, I was private labeling. And so that's good for the audience to know. So they don't necessarily have to sit there with wire cutters and figuring it out. I went up to New York, bought jewelry, and then I bought name cards and put my name on it. So I bought private label free or private label type jewelry where I could do that, and then I sold it. So I sold other people's designs until I started making enough money. So I reinvested everything, because remember, at one time I was working, so I could afford to reinvest and build the business the old school way, bootstrapping. So I reinvested, and then when I got larger, I started to design. Took many trips to China, 22 hours, sitting in the middle one time with 2 men sleeping on my shoulders for 22 hours.
All in pursuit of the dream.
All in pursuit until I could afford that business class, lay flat seat. Yeah, but all in pursuit of the dream. And then I started making. And then not only did I start making, then I had to get the attorneys. Then I had to get patents for all my designs. So I have 33 patents, 15 granted, 15 provisional, got 33 trademarks. Then I started going to the factories and designing. Then I started designing more, getting more patents, then more trademarks. So then I went into protecting as I was growing. Didn't try to get everything lined up so perfect, because then you will never go. I went and everything lined up. I needed proof of concept. People want to figure out the whole concept, lock it down with no proof.
Yeah.
Give me the proof. I can do the rest.
Just get the minimum thing out there and see if people want it, and then take that money and keep investing and building it up.
People want to get the money. There's a book out that's called Leaders Eat Last.
Yeah.
Leaders want to eat first.
Simon Sinek.
Hello, Simon Sinek. That's exactly right. Leaders eat last. So I went on, let's partner up. I've got the jewelry. You know some people. Now go and take some jewelry and see if your people like it. If they like it, you pay me for it. And they did. And then from that on, they had to buy everything wholesale that they sold. But I wanted to let them take a chance first. See if your people will like it. So my job, my grandmother sold clothes and accessories for a living. So when I was 4, I used to go with her to see clothes. So I got style early and money counting experience. I didn't go to daycare. I went to count the money. I knew what the customers owed us at 4 and their names. So my grandmother was already teaching me at 4 years old what to do. So being raised by mother, grandmother, single women, and we got it done.
Yeah, you had an entrepreneur and you had your mom putting that mindset in you, and that's what really built that foundation.
Exactly. And mother wanted me to be a doctor. I'm her only child. So she wanted me to be a doctor, because in her world, you had to be a doctor, lawyer, or Indian chief. So she didn't realize she was raising the chief, the chief executive officer. She wanted the doctor, hence why I have a doctorate degree, because that's what I heard too. So we start to eat and become the words that are constantly spoken over our lives. And you said in one of your videos that the defining moment for you was when you lost that house, you lost a bedroom, you had to move away from your mother and all of that, and it did something in you that you didn't even realize until later, that you said, this will never happen again. I've got to change things. And it's those defining moments. I had a moment like that when that man told me I would never afford it. How could he tell me that? I was destined to prove him wrong, and I did. And those are just moments, because people look at us through a lens based on low income. But we have a choice. See, that was my superpower. You can underestimate me all you want, because I'm not moved by that, because I really do know who I am and what I'm capable of doing.
Yeah, I respect that a lot. I feel the same way. You sold your business for a crazy amount. Tell me about that day.
Yeah. That day, you're smiling because it seems like it would be a great day.
Yeah.
I mourned that day because I loved the people. I loved the business, and I wasn't sure who I was going to be after that day. My identity was so caught up in the jewelry, and I hadn't come to the place where I separated my who from my do. And I was the jewelry lady. So that's who I was, even though that's what I did, and that really wasn't who I was. I was so much more. I mourned it. But now I just invest. So I went back to school and got my real estate license. So my husband and I, we are real estate agents and investors. So we invest and flip properties. So that's a new business. And so I don't like ball out. I just live luxuriously, comfortably, and I'm happy.
So you went from 200 to over $100 million. what would the Tracy at 100 million tell the Tracy at 200 so she could get there in half the time?
Trust that dream that just will not go away. Take a chance. Stop asking for everybody's opinion because everybody's not going to agree. They can't see the dream that's in you. Go ahead, surround yourself with the right people and step out and find out you really can do it.
Make sure to go follow Tracy. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 2 million. We'll see you guys in the next video.